Welcome, welcome, welcome to another DJ Wilson career focused STEM related video. Alright, so today we're going to be talking about getting started with time management and making sure that we develop those time management skills. Alright, our agenda is going to be we're going to talk about what is this thing called time management. And then we want to get into why is effective time management important, and then tips for time management or successful time management questions. We want to jump into our quiz. All right, so what is this thing that we call time management that is so important that we hear people always talking about it? Well, time management or effective time management is a process of organizing and planning how to divide your time between specific activities and completing those activities by the established deadline. Okay? So I want to say that again. Effective time management is the process of organizing and planning how to divide your time between specific activities and completing those activities by the established deadline. So, in a nutshell, it's pretty much how do you get everything done that you need to get done by the deadline. Alright. Why is effective time management so important? Well, the first reason why is it's important to make sure that you complete projects by the deadline. As future employees or as employees, if you have a project that's due by a certain time, it's very important that you make sure you get it done, because if you don't get it done, your employer could easily find somebody else who will get their projects done or their work done by the time that it's necessary to get done, leaving you out in the cold. Okay? As for our students are concerned, it's important. Effective time management is important to get good grades. If you turn in your assignments on time, well, obviously you have a better chance of getting a better grade than if you're turning in assignments late, and then you have teachers that may not accept those assignments. Effective time management is also important to be accountable to others as well as yourself. Okay, being accountable to others. If you say that you're going to be somewhere at a certain time, make sure that you're there. To your own self, if you have an appointment where you're supposed to be somewhere, be accountable to yourself to make sure that you're where you should be. Okay. It is also important because you earn people's trust. If you constantly say, I'm going to be there, I'm going to do this, and every time that you say that it's either late or you don't, well, obviously people want to lose respect and lose trust in what you say. So it's important or effective time management is important so that you can earn people's trust. Obviously, we talked about the importance of all of this, but now let's get into the tips of to effectively manage our time. Okay? So the first is use a planner to write down your daily goals and activities and prioritize them. One of the greatest things that I went through was a training session by Franklin Covey, or Franklin Covey planner session, and what it taught was to write down the list of everything that you have to do at the beginning of the day and prioritize those things, and then work on those things. The most important things get done first, and then whatever can be done later, get those things done later. And if they fall to the following day, they fall to the following day. But make sure that you prioritize the things that have to get done. Another thing is be organized. So if your area is a wreck, or if you're a wreck, okay, it's going to be very challenging to make sure that you're organized and getting the things done that you need to get done. Okay, so always do your best to stay organized and neat. Set a time limit for different activities. So if you need to get a project done, and you're budgeting about an hour and a half for that project, well, budget that hour and a half and make sure you get that project done in an hour and a half. Now, granted, okay, if this is a priority one project and you need more time, okay, you got to do it. However, if it's a project, if it's a priority for, project that needs more time, well, you can put that aside and set that aside later to make sure that you accomplish the main things that definitely need to get done. Limit taking on new activities. Learn to say no. Learn to say no thanks. Okay? Because many times people will always ask you to do certain things, and if you don't have the time to do it, be respectful and say, unfortunately, I don't really have the time to do that. Okay? Or just being real, many times, we might have friends that might want to go out or do something along those lines, and we have a major project due, or we have a project due. Gotta learn to say no thanks. Hey, I got this other stuff to do. I'll do it afterwards. Okay? And one great thing is to take breaks. Renew and refresh your mind when you complete activities. So after you complete an activity, it's great to take, a couple minute break, get something to eat, refresh your mind, and then come back and then complete some different activities. Effective time. Or ABE. I like to say ABE. Always be early. Okay? Be on time. When I talk about being on time, actually in the business world, there's this kind of saying, it's on time is actually being late, but early is on time. So always do your best to be 15 minutes early, so that you're not stressing yourself if there's traffic or anything along those lines, for those of you that drive. Okay? But always do your best to be on time. Then you can always block and avoid distractions. So if you know that YouTube is a distraction, or your TV or your video game or whatever is a distraction, avoid it while you're working, so that you can stay focused on the things that you need to get done. Reduce multitasking. Now this is kind of a challenge for me sometimes. It's really a challenge for me sometimes. Because as a teacher, you're always thinking about new stuff that you can do for your students. But if I'm working on something, I need to make sure that I'm focused on what I'm doing, rather than focusing on a presentation and then focusing on grades and then focusing on creating some type of video game that I think is going to be fun for people to play. So I reduce multitasking. Try and focus on one thing at a time. Okay? It does allow you to be more effective. And exercise. Exercise increases blood and oxygen to your brain. So the exercising, it will allow you to be more effective in your work. Okay, and it also provides a lot of different energies and things like that. Overall, it's just good for you anyway. And make sure you utilize the tools that are available to you to make sure that you can complete your project effectively. So, for example, if your teacher says, they want you to write a 500 word paper, and they want you to submit it by a certain time, well, you can use a computer, right, or word processing software, and then type your paper rather than writing it out with hand or using a typewriter. You can use a computer to do that and then save it and then submit it. Because if you have to write it out with hand, right, you have to write it, then you have to scan it in, then you have to submit it. So there's a lot of different things that you might have to do. But for this particular technique, make sure that you're utilizing the tools that will allow you to be the most efficient and most effective to complete the various tasks that you're working on. Okay? So, with that, again, I want to make sure that I say this is not an expansive list of different techniques to be effective in time management, but these are some good starting tips to help you along the way. All right? So with that, questions? Ha ha ha! I know I get you every time. Yeah, you're talking to it or you're watching a video, so I really can't answer any questions for you. So anyway, thanks for watching, and hashtag, go build something cool. As always, go build something cool positive. All right, thanks. See ya. Take care.